Good morning. We're here at the Gauteng Rock in Alberton, sitting at the Gori chambers where we've been monitoring those results trickling in. We are sitting at almost 50%. Like the rest of the country, the IEC board here as well malfunctioned earlier this morning, as early as 6 a.m. Also on the website, we're having some issues with finding the Gauteng results. But when we last checked, it was almost hovering at 50%. With the ANC still holding on to the lead at just over 30%, with the DA close behind at 29%, and then the EFF following just behind. That was the last results we were able to get at that time. I want to bring in the IEC, the presiding officer. Thabo, thank you so much for speaking to us. Let's start with the issues from this morning, which we've seen not just at this IEC provincial office, but across the country with regard to the public-facing interface and the board that would normally give out the results to the public.
Our understanding at the provincial rock is that there was an interruption in terms of the feed between our results system and the dashboard that displays stats and results at the national rock. It also impacted us here because we also have a screen. We are tracking the developments in terms of the results at the national level.
Let's talk on what other concerns have you seen as the IEC in the province with regard to the voting. Are there any voting stations that are having issues? Have there been any backlogs at this stage that could cause difficulties in the results being brought? We know the counting is completed, but the verification and them being recorded.
I want to mention that whilst the disruption of display of stats and results is regrettable, the capturing of results has been continuing uninterrupted. We are making great progress. For instance, in the province of Gauteng, we have processed 64% of our results. We are just left with about just 1,000 results to finalize. We account for about 2,797 voting stations. At this stage, we have just finalized around 55% of our results. We hope that the pace will increase. We are refreshed now, and let's check the progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's the IEC here in the province giving us an update with regards to what we've seen happening this morning at both the national as well as the province's dashboards, but saying that we were able to bring in and have upped the number of voting districts that have been captured, saying that according to them it's at 55%. As I gave you that numbers of what we've seen so far of the top three, it was the ANC, then the DA, and then the EFF. I want to bring in the Democratic Alliance's Gauteng Premier candidate, Salim Samang. We've seen the numbers. You're still at number 2. You are at the ankles of the ANC there at 29%. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very, very positive this morning, minus, the glitches that the IEC has been experiencing, which is, causing a number of frustrations for us. But we're feeling positive that, our numbers are, growing very, very well. We still have quite a number of voting stations that still needs to then come in, and those are big numbers that will be coming in. But from what we have been able to then pick up, it's very much encouraging. I mean, if you're looking at the fact that in areas like the Vaal, Sebokeng, in Mfuleni, we never used to then get the numbers that we now are getting from there. That is very much encouraging. In our strong areas, we have actually even seen the growth that has been, at now at an additional 30% that has really come out, which is very much encouraging, which then tells us that, what we have been setting out to do is now within reach.
Do you feel that that campaign that you ran here in the province, highlighting, and also the leadership that you've done and governance in various of the different metropolitans over the last 5 years and beyond, have made an impact to the citizens here in Gauteng?
Well, look, I think, I said from the get-go that I'm not going to run a negative campaign. Our campaign has been more towards what is the solution. Everybody knows what is wrong. What is the solution? That's what we ran on. And we've been going around and talking to people, not about just our manifesto, but also about what we call the Ready to Govern. What is it? What is the program that we want to then roll out? And this is what I've, started doing. And you would know that I've ran the longest campaign of all the political parties here in Gauteng. We started last year around September. Other parties started much later on, and being able to then go through to all communities, I think that has really helped us quite a lot to then get to the numbers that we are now getting, here. And I must say that, the failures of government to a degree have actually then also contributed to that. So I don't think that it's all entirely on what the DA or any other political party has been doing. I think people are now just saying, we are tired of, having a government that cannot deal with the issues of an economy that is not growing. We cannot deal with the infrastructure that is falling apart. We cannot deal with issues of safety and security that seems to be a big problem. We cannot deal with the health or education system that is falling apart. So this is, things that have really driven people out. Despite, the challenges that the IEC was, experiencing on election day. And this is, for me, what was very telling, that in areas like Greenfield, here in Johannesburg, you had people that stood in line up to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they were standing in kilometers and kilometers and saying, no matter how dark, no matter how cold, we will make sure that we vote. And this is things that, for me, is very encouraging, and that is what, gets me to be more committed to ensuring that, we can then get in and we can then give people a better government going forward.
We know 3 of the metropolitans here in Gauteng have been in coalitions. It has been not always the best solution. Going forward, if the DA is in coalition with parties, what can you promise that we see being done differently?
Look, I think what we have done now since, a year and a half to 2 years, we have said, let's not talk about positions first. Let's not talk about what I get, you get. Let's talk about what we want to then achieve. So what does South Africa look like? What does Gauteng look like post the time that we're just coming out of? And then how do we then get there? So it's the what and the how. And then you can then talk about, the positions. Because if you start with the positions, then you spend so much time jostling for positions instead of then working on the delivery. And what I like about what we've done also with the multi-party is that we were also able to then start dealing with issues of, what we do in terms of when there's disputes. So these are things that I think are going to be very different going forward.
Thank you so much. That was the DA's provincial candidate here in Gauteng, Salim Samang, speaking to us as we monitor that provincial picture at the moment. Lots of the numbers coming through. As you heard from the IEC, they've processed just over 50% at this point. On the website, however, and on the dashboard here, we're still finding some glitches and some issues of delay at that point. But for now, back to you in studio.